Jets Final Drive, back with you guys like we are every single week. And like every single week, we are back to you live after another Jets loss. He is Zack Rosenblatt. I am Connor Hughes. We appreciate anywhere you guys are watching us from. That could be on X, which is awesome. That could be on smy.tv, which is awesome. Maybe Facebook or even YouTube. If you're on the former 3 locations that I told you, I do want to direct you to YouTube like I do every single week. The big reason why we have a live comment section and a chat that is running throughout the duration of this show where you can interact with Zach, you can interact with me, you can interact with our producing Queen Sam back in the studio. And I'm sure there is a lot on your mind because that was a bad one. Other than the game, though, Zach, how are you, I guess, before we get to the disaster that was that game? How are you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm getting ready to fly out to London shortly after we get off this pod. So I'm going across the pond. I get away from you for a few days, get as far away from you as possible. And then, Connor, since the schedule came out, he's been asking if we could get beef Wellington on Saturday. Yes. Connor likes to plan his meals pretty far in advance. Connor's been asking pretty much weekly, like, so are we going to get beef Wellington? Are we going to get beef Wellington? He's going to be third wheeling it with me and my wife. I think he's more excited for that than anything else about London.
I am. I actually think I might not be third wheeling, though, because I'm bringing the other Connor. Connor Byrne, our field producer for SMY, is going to be tagging along as well. But I had no issue at all third wheeling. But the truth is, Zach, you and I both know that Sam would be third wheeling us, not the other way around. Yeah. We do have, and speaking of that, it's going to be a wild week. Like, I've got the Giants Thursday night game, Giants-Eagles Thursday night. They're their own disaster. Friday, then, the day after that game, I'm flying to London to meet you over there. I leave Friday night, but get to London Friday or Saturday morning. It's going to be freaking wild. Before we get to this game, there's controversy, Zach. Major controversy involving me.
Controversy.
Yeah, something that I need to address. I am worried that this could impact my career. I don't know when I'm going to be putting this headset on again. On this show last week, God, it's hard to say this out loud. I'm going to cry. On this show last week, I made a prediction. My prediction was the Cowboys -2.5. Before kickoff, I tweeted that my gut thought the Jets were going to win. I will say that since I've become a father, my gut is nowhere near what it used to be. I am very much embracing my dad bod era. But this is something that I am ashamed of, something I'm not proud of, something I'm hoping that the loyal listeners of Jets Final Drive, Jets Mailbag, and my bosses at SNY can forgive me for. But, Zach, we currently have 2 picks out there. We have Cowboys -2.5. Which I made on this show, and then we have Jets money line, which I made based off of my gut before this started. You are judge, juror, and executioner to decide which pick stands. I will remind you that you're currently kicking my you-know-what in the picks, so I kind of would think you would give me this one maybe, just to make this more interesting down the stretch. But let me know which pick counts, the show pick or my tweet pick.
Well, you said I'm the executioner also. I think I just vote to execute you. Is that an option?
Yeah. All right, Sanchez.
Oh, boy. So, look, I mean, you did a stupid thing. You tend to do that. But I'll let you have this one because I think what we say on the pod is the official pick. But, number one, don't let it happen again. And number two, you can't just do the flip also. Like you can't, get it wrong on here and then tweet the prediction later in the week and that one's right. You're like, all right, I think I deserve the correct pick because I changed it. Yeah. The point is it's hard for us to pick the day after a game for the next week, and that's what makes it fun. So that's
exactly. I agree. I will say, Zach, that we were not the only ones who picked the Jets. In fact, one of my favorite memories from that game yesterday was Samini. As soon as he got down in the tunnel, turned to me and emphatically goes, "Last time I picked the Jets." It was like, he said, look, Samini's been through it, dude. And he even said that this was one of the worst games he has ever covered. All right. Let's get into the show. Does that sound like I'm glad that we got this controversy behind us. Let's get into it. First thing, and we're going to make this a staple here on Jets Final Drive. This segment is brought to you by Monmouth University. Explore further at monmouth.edu/amplified. What we learned from Sunday, sticking with the educational theme from the greatest university in all of the land. Only excellence comes from Monmouth University. I think that is widely known across the nation. Also, shout out to them currently because the Hawks are 3-1. Zach, what did you learn about the Jets in one sentence or less?
I learned that they have a bad defense. I mean, that's confirmed. I don't know how much more I can say than that, but I think their defense is bad.
Good news is we have the next 45 minutes to get into all the reasons why their defense is bad. What I learned, I'm much simpler. The Jets stink. That's all I learned. So that's going to do it for this very quick segment from Monmouth University. What we learned about the Jets. They stink, and from Zach, their defense stinks. I'm just kind of looping them all in. 37-22, the final score. The Dallas Cowboys and their horrendous defense beat the New York Jets. This game was in no way, shape, or form as close as that lopsided scoreboard might indicate. I mean, it was 30-6 going into the third quarter until the garbage time merchant Jets offense took off. Zach, I want to take you back at this point 7 days exactly to when you and I were sitting in the bowels of Hard Rock Stadium, which is my favorite way to describe the underbelly of a stadium. Underbelly is also one of my favorite ways to describe the bowels of a stadium.
The Todd Bowles of the stadium.
The Todd Bowles of the stadium. We are sitting in the press conference room, which is adjacent to the locker room, and we are listening to Aaron Glenn berate the Jets, screaming at them after the then previously winless Dolphins beat them on Monday Night Football, saying how this is unacceptable, they need to be better, guys need to pick it up, they can't keep doing this. I mean, truly screaming them. And in the moment, I remembered what Robert Saleh told me about people screaming and coaches screaming at players. These are grown men. Grown men do not want to be berated like they are children. It's a really quick way to turn somebody off. However, if you do it appropriately and you do it at the right time, you can evoke a legitimate response. Tom Thibodeau is an expert with this, which is why when he takes over a team in basketball, you usually see a jump. Tom Coughlin used to be like that in football, where you'd see the quick jump. Bill Parcells used to be it. So I thought, Zach, that after Aaron Glenn berated and screamed and yelled and just lost his you-know-what on the Jets in the locker room, there might be a response from the Jets here against the Cowboys. And boy, oh boy, was there a response. They were down 20 points at half. They committed double-digit penalties again. 12 were called on them, 10 were accepted. They missed double-digit tackles again, according to NFL's next-gen stats, 14 if you want the specific number. They turned it over again going into the end zone for a would-be touchdown. They faced a Dallas team that was down 4/5 of their offensive line, and they managed zero turnovers and just one garbage sack. The offense was horrific. Again, 30-6 the score going into the fourth quarter before Justin Fields went rampant against a prevent defense. You had a player crying in the locker room. Other guys were emotional on the field. The Jets actually came back and made history as well in this game because Aaron Glenn is the first-time head coach in team history to start the season 0-5. The Jets are the first team in NFL history to not have a turnover in their first 5 games. And Justin Fields is now 0-26 as a starter when the opponent scores 21-plus points. Thoughts, my friend?
I mean, other than that, it's all pretty good, right? Is that what you're trying to? Is that what you want me to say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, seriously, like they find the positive somehow. So I don't know what you can find the positives out of that one, though.
I mean, the reality is, and I have to say, poop once a pod. They pooped their pants right out of the gate. So I wrote about in my game story. I wrote about how there was 147 seconds where it all went to hell, basically, and that was from Breece Hall's fumble through halftime. Everything was a complete disaster. Breece Hall fumbles it. They come back the other way, score a touchdown. The Jets decide to throw the ball instead of, running the clock out, which, fine. Sauce thought it was showing confidence in the defense. They go 3 and out, and then the defense goes back the other way, and they're able to score a touchdown immediately. And so, this was just a quintessential Jets loss, like all of them we've seen before, if not worse. And I don't know where they go from here. You hope they show some pride the rest of the way and come out of these games showing a little something more with a little more fire. I just don't see fire in this team. You don't get credit for battling at the end of every week when you lose every week and when you fall into these holes and when Justin Fields threw for 280 yards, but he mostly in the fourth quarter. So, this is a bad football team until they prove us. I mean, this is the worst team in the NFL until they prove us otherwise.
Literally.
They're 0. No other team is defeated in this way. So,
That's such a wild way to say it. No other team is defeated. True though.
I mean,
That's a great
they're
way to
alone.
word it.
They're alone at the bottom in the NFL. Like, just think about that. Like, for as bad as the Jets were at times over the years, like they pretty rarely were there. I mean, I know there was the Gase year, but in terms of just pure record, being the team alone with the worst record is kind of hard to do once you get to a certain point of the season. So you're a quarter away through the season. I feel like they're worse now than when the season started. They're leaving the country. Maybe that's the key. Maybe they can get away, and that's the kind of thing where
London hasn't been kind to them, man.
it hasn't.
It really hasn't.
London wasn't kind to anybody last year. Like I was on vacation when they decided to fire the coach, so I'm hoping for better results this year.
Here's a half positive. Do you want that? A half one?
Sure.
Half positive? Maybe. Actually, no. My math's way off. It's let me do.
You're never good at math.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a 2/7 positive. Like I say, Glenn is, and shout out Rich Cimini for digging this up. Glenn is, like I said, the first-time head coach to start his tenure 0-5. There have been 7 others to do it. Urban Meyer, disaster. Joe Judge, disaster. Zach Taylor with the Bengals, not a disaster. Brian Flores, disaster. Kyle Shanahan, not a disaster. Anthony Lynn, disaster. So it's either going to be easy math at 2/8 after this or harder math at 3/8 after this. We will see. Zach, the Cowboys defense. Cowboys offense, I'm sorry. Jets defense. Cowboys offense was without 4/5 of their offensive line. All-world wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and his backup Kevontae Turpin. And also running back 2 in Miles Sanders. Those were all of the players these guys were without. Do you want to start pass rush, secondary, run defense, or effort? What is your preference here?
Pick of the litter here. I'll go with pass defense because I just want to focus on, everybody went into this game thinking if the Jets don't stop Ryan Flournoy, they're screwed. That's the one thing I kept saying all week, if you remember. So that's
all right. So you want to start with the secondary?
Yes, I want to start with the secondary.
Right.
The fact that George Pickens is going to make some great plays, like he does it even against good coverage. He's also going to make some boneheaded ones. They did, other than the coverage bust, which we'll get into. Like he was, he didn't dominate the game, but Ryan Flournoy had over 100 yards before halftime. Like, this is a guy, I don't have the 3 schools in front of me. He went to 3 major / non-Division I schools or
non-FBS
schools.
If he went to Monmouth, he's probably a first-round pick. I'm just going to say.
He didn't. He went to South Missouri State and it's community college and another one.
If he went to Monmouth, he'd have had 200 on Sunday. Just saying.
You already did the Monmouth promo. You don't need to keep doing it. And this guy, he was on the practice squad at the start of the season. He was a 6th-round pick last year. And the Jets just let him run wild over them. And I know a lot of that has to do with Dak Prescott, but the pass defense. I had a stat that I tweeted out. I don't know when we're throwing it up, but or if we are. But he opposing offenses, I think when they complete passes, 64% of them are either first downs or touchdowns, which is far and away the worst in the NFL. It's the worst the Jets have had since 2000 at least, because that's as far back as True Media goes. Just think about that. 6 out of every 10 completion is either a first down or a touchdown. That is an embarrassment for a team that for a few years with DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner and Mike Carter II when he was healthy and okay safeties and linebackers that were better in coverage. This was one of the better pass coverage teams in the NFL. They were shutting down quarterbacks left and right. They made CJ Stroud look like nothing. They made C.J. Stroud look like nothing. This is not that defense anymore. You pointed out, actually I won't step on it because you want to cover other parts of the defense. But yeah, the pass defense has just been rough. And it's, ironically, Brandon Stevens hasn't been the problem as much the last couple of weeks. It's been everybody else. Malachi Moore played nickel for some reason. I don't know why they played him over Jarvis Brownlee. But
because they traded
Brandon
for Brownlee
Stevens
to play in the nickel.
Yeah, Brandon Stevens is one of the few guys that has been tackling well. Also, Sauce actually had a couple good tackles too. But the secondary being this bad, when you have a coach in Aaron Glenn, you have a defensive backs coach in Chris Harris, you have Dre Bly, all these guys that were supposed to be one of the better coaching staffs in terms of defensive back development in the NFL. It has been a disaster on the back end.
Horrible. And I talked to one defensive coordinator in the NFL about this. And he watched again because I watched the All 22, but I'm not a defensive coordinator. I'm not. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn, so I can't even pretend to be one. These guys are, though, and he watched the film for me and watched it with me, and he just kind of explained to me what he was seeing. The Jets were constructed over the last 4 years to be primarily a zone-based defense. That's what they were. And a lot of the players they got, whether it was Carter or Sauce Gardner or the guys in the secondary, were primarily zone-based guys. And Sauce is an elite-level player, and he has the ability to go man-to-man with people. And you saw that against Pickens. In fact, the numbers even against Pickens weren't that terrible. He was targeted 4 times, allowed 2 catches. One was the first down on 3rd and 9, which is slant, and then one was the touchdown, which Sauce made very clear after the game that he expected safety help. But he was telling me that when he looks at the secondary, he sees a bunch of guys that are ready to play zone coverage, but Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks want them to play man coverage. But then now they're trying to transition back a little bit to zone coverage because that's what these guys are better at. But the problem is that this coaching staff doesn't have a lot of experience coaching zone coverage, so they're out of water, and you just have a colossal mismatch of badness. And it's true, dude. Like it was bad from top to bottom. I mean, like the pass rush not getting home, which we're going to get to in a second, absolutely played a factor in this. But guys are just open. And Brandon Stevens, he was the best of the bunch. He still allowed 3 catches for 60 yards, including that 46-yarder on the free play because I think it was Quinnen or Will McDonald jumped off sides. The safeties remain a complete and total disaster. Andre Sisco wasn't good last year with the Jaguars, right? Like, he wasn't good. And now, like, the Jets get him, and they're like, we think he's going to be good. Well, he's not. And Brandon Stevens has been the best of the bunch in the secondary, but he hasn't really been good either, which, oh, by the way, goes back to in Baltimore, where he was not very good. And Tony Adams, I think, right now is just swimming. Like, he has no confidence in himself. He doesn't feel any confidence from the coaching staff. He feels out of place in this scheme, and you feel for him as a result. I don't think Tony Adams is this bad. Do I think Tony Adams is an above-average starter in the league? No, but we've seen in the last couple of years, he's not this bad. He's not a great box player. He's going to struggle immensely in tackling, but he's not somebody that is this bad. And I don't even know where to go with it, Zach, but that number you said, almost 65% of the passes resulting in a first down or touchdown, it's nuts, man. It is absolutely mind-boggling. And we'll go from secondary, because how are you going to keep like just harping on all of this stuff over and over and over again? But directly tied to that is this pass rush.
Yeah.
Will McDonald was a player that the Jets, this staff, Aaron Glenn specifically, could not wait to reach around and pat himself on the back for what we were seeing from him. You remember the play where he bulldozed Armand Membo in training camp? Again, like Will was beating everybody with speed. Membo very clearly set up to combat the speed. That caught him off balance, and Will just went right through him with a bulldoze. We talked to Glenn after it, and in his typical kind of quick, just fire at insult / compliment, asked what's different with Will this year. He said coaching, and reiterated coaching, A literal shot right across the country at Robert Saleh, and a shot right down south at Jeff Ulbrich as defensive coordinator of the Falcons, both of whom's defenses, by the way, are playing immensely better right now with just as many injuries or worse than what the New York Jets are right now. Could not wait to pat himself on the back. Opener looked like it was the right call because Will had 2 sacks and 3 quarterback hits and was stellar. Since that opening game, Zach, do you know these numbers? Do you know how many quarterback sacks Will McDonald has since the opener?
He doesn't have any, right?
Correct. Do you know how many quarterback hits he has since the opener?
It's like 1 or something like that?
It's 1. Do you know what his Pro Football Focus grade is?
Not good.
57.8. Do you know what that is, that football grade?
Bad.
The worst of his career. So you not only now have a secondary that's struggling, you have a pass rush that's not getting home. Quinnen Williams is the same. 0 quarterback hits, 0 sacks since the opener. Had a PFF grade of 51.3 against the Cowboys. Jermaine Johnson should be back either this week or next, but I don't think Jermaine Johnson is going to fix everything. And Zach, you and I were texting about this right now. This number, I think, is what just blows my mind more than anything else. The Jets are blitzing on 31.4% of their plays. That's 7th highest in the NFL. A complete and total change from the years underneath Ulbrich and Saleh, which makes sense. Saleh, Ulbrich, they don't believe in blitzing. They want to drop everybody back, pressure with their front 4, and play coverage on the rest. Despite the fact, though, they are blitzing 7th most of any team in the NFL. They have a pressure rate of 28%, which is 32nd in the NFL. Read between the lines there, right? Analyze this. Analyze this number. That means that the Jets are bringing guys, taking guys out of coverage to try to get home. They're not coming home, which means a quarterback now is taking advantage of a secondary that already isn't good and is now undermanned because their help is rushing. It's a disaster. Disaster.
I mean, the way you can diagnose that, it could be one of two things, if not both of them. And one is either the blitz aren't clever or creative enough to the point where they're not throwing the offense off guard, which, is pretty embarrassing when you go against a Cowboys team with 4 out of 5 guys not in there. Or it's that the guys aren't doing it the right way and or not getting home, which, also kind of ties back to coaching to a degree. So, this is supposed to be a fun, aggressive defense. I do think they're missing Quincy Williams in this regard because I think he was someone who's really built to be a really good blitzer.
Yeah.
And, the back end guys, you can't really trust these guys at this point. So, if the blitzes aren't getting home, and the defensive linemen aren't winning their one-on-one matchups, and Quinnen's getting double and triple teamed and all that still, but the other guys are not winning their matchups at the end of the day, and you're playing Brady McGregor a lot, and you're playing Tyler Barron way more than you should be, and so they're not winning up front, in which, you talk about Saleh's defense a lot. They didn't blitz at all. They predicated it on those guys winning up front and just winning their one-on-ones. And a couple of years ago, just think about how good the defensive line was when they had Bryce Huff, they had Sheldon Rankins, John Franklin Myers, and Quinnen Williams. That was the best version of this defensive line probably. And those guys were all winning their matchups. And so that made life easier for Sauce Gardner, for DJ Reed, for Michael Carter II, and for the safeties, which have always been kind of average. But, everything starts up front. Aaron Glenn has said as much, and they're not winning up front on either side of the ball, frankly, but especially not on defense right now. And until they make waves on the defensive line, I don't know what kind of changes they can make because you can't really bench any of these guys because they don't have anybody else on the roster. So, I don't know where you go. I don't know what you do, but this defensive line is, pass rush wise is really, really bad. And,
terrible, man. No one's winning.
And if you don't have stars on the back end, if you're not as talented on the back end, and you're putting these guys on an island and, they're not getting help and things like that makes their life harder too. So, it's not a well-coached team and it's not a team that executes their plays very well.
And it's the players that they need are players that they had. They had Bryce Huff, your situational rusher, and Huff wanted to come back to the Jets, and there was a contract ready to go out to the Jets the game after Mike White's ribs basically exploded against the Buffalo Bills, and spending was put on hold. The Jets were told you are not to spend any more money the rest of this year. So the contract to Bryce Huff never went out. John Franklin Myers was a leader within the locker room and a force on the field, and he was traded because the Jets people within the building wanted this flashy toy that was Hassan Reddick, and then Reddick and the contract and all that other stuff. Zach, Dak Prescott kept clean on 27 of his dropbacks, playing behind an offensive line that was missing 4/5 of their starters. And when he was kept clean, he was 17 to 25 for 197 and 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's good. And the other thing, and we're going to talk more about Prescott comparing him to Fields in a little bit, but he's good, man. That guy is good. He gets so much shit from people across the NFL and just ripped and criticized, and I get it. He's got to do it in the playoffs like every major player does. But, dude, I've watched him go up against the Giants now when I cover those games. I've watched him go against the Jets. That dude is a good football player. He is just a good football player, and he's tough. That hit he took up the middle, I think it was Sherwood, destroyed him, and he pops right back up and still keeps throwing passes. I mean, he's just a really good football player.
So we just got a text in a group message you and I are in. I guess on part of my take, they called Steve Wilkes. They called him Steve Wilkes Booth for his defensive game plan.
I got to shout out, pardon my take. I got to give Memes, their producer, absolutely had me rolling on the floor laughing at their episode last week. So Memes is a huge Jets fan, for those of you guys that don't know. He decided that he was going to take over the Jets and do a rebuild in Madden. In Madden football, he's going to take over the Jets and do a rebuild. So he got his team, he traded a bunch of guys, got a bunch of draft picks, was ready to do the rebuild. He got fired in the offseason. So Woody Johnson fired Memes in the Madden franchise, and he wasn't even able to see his rebuild through. So that was, I think, absolutely hysterical. 2 more topics to talk about here with the Jets on defense, Zach, and we can run through them pretty quick. Run defense and effort. Run defense. You want to talk about that 66-yard runs by Javonte Williams?
I do actually. So I tweeted out a few screenshots from the play.
Amazing. Dude.
I don't know if fun's the right way to say it, but there's moments in a play where, like, if you just screenshot at the right time, you're like, okay, this play probably ended right here, or this play went for a lot of yards, and it's like the opposite. But so Javonte Williams, he arrives at the line of scrimmage, and Tyler Barron's there waiting for him, and Tyler Barron just slides right off him as if Javonte Williams is covered in oil or something. He just slid right off him. And then Javonte goes to the next level, and there's like literally 4 Jets defenders in the area. There's like maybe a blocker or 2, and 2 of them aren't even close, and then 2 completely missed the tackle. So then Javonte Williams, who is having a good year, but he's not like a burner or a star running back by any means. He gets all the way to the 1. Malachi Moore has a hustle play to tackle him at the 1. The next play, Jake Ferguson's wide open in the end zone for a touchdown. But that play just like exemplified all their tackling issues this year, their personnel problems, the fact that Tyler Barron's on the field at all. He should not be. That was, frankly, like, it's pretty clear he was not a great pick. I mean, he was a 5th-round pick. You get what you can, but he's not someone who looks like he belongs on the field ultimately. And so you have defensive linemen who can't make the plays when they're right in front of them, which, that's execution. That's like where, coaches say, like, well, look, he was there, but he didn't tackle him. But yeah, none of these guys are tackling anybody. So, it's man, that was an embarrassment for the defense. They've had a few of those moments throughout this season, but that one in particular, where you just like look at the play, like they had many opportunities to bring him down, couldn't do it. And I didn't see any Javonte Williams quotes after the game, but I imagine he probably didn't expect to get as many yards as he did there, I would say.
No, but really headsy play by Williams, too. The one thing that stands out is if you noticed him running towards the sideline, if he was tackled at the 1 yard inbounds, or if he cut inside trying to score, thought he was going to go, and he went down around the 1 or 2 yard line, there's a good chance the Cowboys get no points there, because you now have to have they had no timeouts. You have to have the entire line, receivers, quarterback, all get to line, set, snap the ball. I don't know if they get the playoff in time. So really heads-up play by Williams to get out of bounds at the 1 and give the Cowboys 2 more shots to try to get in the end zone. Obviously, they only needed 1. I will say this about the Jets' run defense. Aside from that 66-yard run, which was a disaster, Williams only had 15 for 69 on all of his other rush attempts. And there was a lot of just run the ball, milk the clock there in the second half, and opportunities for him to get. I mean, that's still a 4.6 yard per carry average. That's still good. But it wasn't like this was them gashing. So the run defense, which had been so bad, actually Will McDonald, we were just criticizing him as a rusher earlier, he had another decent day setting the edge. Actually had a nice tackle on Williams coming around the backside. He's been getting better. Braden McGregor, who had a sack, actually graded out pretty well this game in run defense specifically. So the Jets weren't horrible against the run. That 66-yard run makes the stats look worse than they are. So that's a semi-minor positive if you want to hang on it. The no positives, I think, is effort. And that's the last thing I really have to talk about with the defense before we'll transition here to the offense, is like the 14 missed tackles per next gen. Again, guys just bouncing off. The screenplay to Ferguson, where I think it was Stevens just kind of threw out an arm and he ran right through it. Malachi Moore on the first play of the Fournoy, or first series Fournoy, where he misses the tackle. He ends up picking like 30, 40 yards after that one. And I think, Zach, the biggest issue that I have right now about this defense, and I think both of us are, except for when you were covering the Eagles, both of us are experts in covering bad football teams right now and teams that really are going through it. Usually, you see something in the first 2 weeks that stinks and is bad, and then they do things to fix it, and it gets fixed. And then when you're a bad football team, usually something else pops up, and then you have to fix that. But like, you can at least make some strides or see some progress, especially when you have a team that has legitimate talent like the Jets. The problem is that nothing is getting better with this team right now. The same problems that we circled, you can literally go back and listen to this show after the opener against the Steelers, and the same crap we were talking about this defense struggling with after that game, they are still struggling with it on October 6th after they just lost again to the Dallas Cowboys. The coverage, people are wide open in the secondary. The pass rush isn't getting home as you hoped. They're missing tackles. It's poor assignments. It's effort issues. It's guys hanging their head. And it's happening over and over and over again. And I genuinely don't know how you fix it, because Aaron Glenn made it very clear he is not taking play calling from Steve Wilks. The only way it happens is if ownership comes in strong and says, we are taking play calling. And that doesn't seem like it's happening. So I genuinely don't know how you fix it. I did hear a player tell me that it basically, quote, "This blank is crazy. I can't even explain it," regarding like this defense. Like, you can't put words into it, and I don't know how you fix it.
I mean, I think these guys are shocked too. Like, I think like they're shell shocked by how bad it's gone, and I think that has led to more mistakes happening because you have guys overcompensating, and that's why you see a lot of the penalties a lot of the times. But yeah, I mean, effort and want to, like, that has to come from within. Like, I don't know how much Aaron Glenn can pull that out. And this goes back to the convo we had last week where I said, who is the guy on this team, especially on the defense, who is the guy that's going to like rally everybody, the energy guy, the energy giver, the guy that's going to rally the troops and get everybody to buckle up. You don't want to hear that they had a players only meeting because that usually spells disaster, but you need somebody to get this group to care more. Like, not to say they don't care, but like to, the energy, the way they play, like when things fall apart, like not letting it, landslide. Like that. This is a team that has struggled with that year in, year out. And I don't know who is in this locker room to shake everybody together and get them on the right track.
We say all the time, Zach, where is the best place to watch this show?
On YouTube.
Hell yeah, it is. And we appreciate you guys on X, SNY TV, everywhere. But the cool thing about watching it on YouTube is what, Zach?
You get to comment.
Yes, you do. You get to comment on us. You get to live tweet us. You get to live post us. You get to ask questions and all that stuff. I was wondering, like, dude, I was like, man, you really zone out every time
I went to University of Arizona, man. I didn't go to Monmouth. I didn't go to this Ivy League school.
There you go. Yeah, I get to turn my camera and show my diploma that's hanging right up there. It's real, I swear. Yeah. All right, so this question we have, again, we appreciate you guys anywhere we're watching, but this is the cool thing about YouTube is that we're doing this live and we can interact with you guys live. Shout out production queen Sam or producer queen Sam for sending this one in to us. Question from Amart. Zach, coaching aside, are you guys concerned about Aaron Glenn's ability to identify talent? Cisco, Stevens, keeping Gibson, Clemens. I'm starting to really question his ability to identify good players. I completely agree with that, and I have that same concern because to put it succinctly, and I know that's a challenge for me, is when you looked back at this team, when we were talking to Aaron Glenn at the NFL Combine, and you asked me what is wrong and what do the Jets need to fix, I would have told you wide receiver 2 opposite Garrett Wilson, quarterback, safety, cornerback. Those would be the things I would say you need to fix these things. And here we are on October 6th, and the biggest issues with the Jets are quarterback, wide receiver 2 opposite Garrett Wilson, safety, and cornerback. And depth on the defensive line, if you want to throw that in there as well. They have fixed nothing. And the players that they brought in to fix the issues were players that all of us looked and said, that's who you're bringing in? Wait, you think Cisco is the fix at safety? You think, wait, the Ravens thought Stevens stunk. That's why they got rid of him. You think he's really good? Like what? Well, maybe they know something we don't. Spoiler alert, they didn't. So, yeah, I absolutely think that's a valid concern that we have right now. Absolutely, 100%.
I will say you just had like a Robert De Niro-esque, like, are you talking to me kind of face? Like that when you were going through those like that. Like that was pretty, you did a De Niro impression without even meaning to.
For thumbnails. Well, yeah. We need screenshots for thumbnails. We'll use that one.
But real quick, I'll just say, like, it absolutely is fair to question it based on the early returns. I do think, in Detroit, he was really involved with like the evaluation of the guys they brought in on the defense, and they had great drafts and they had great free agency classes, and that's how they built that defense. But, the early group between him and Muji that they brought in has not been helpful ultimately.
No, absolutely not. Other one we got here, and this is just because, in honor of the Jets patting themselves on the back for Will McDonald, I'm going to pat myself on the back. This is from Edutain Me. The Jets should pay Connor to explain stuff. I totally see it now. Our defense is built for and trained for on zone, and Aaron Glenn Wilkes' experiences in man mostly, so we get this. How did no one catch that? Again, I didn't do that. I didn't point that out. I had a defensive coach tell me I'm not that clever. Like, I actually, to be completely honest with you, I had a defensive coordinator tell me that, and then I went to Connor Rogers and was like, is this true? And Connor Rogers was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely true. And I was like, okay, cool, then I believe it.
Oh, so maybe he means they should pay Connor Rogers, actually. So that's what he meant.
Yeah. All right, Zach, you want to talk a little offense?
Let's do it.
With you? All right, awesome. So I covered the Giants-Cowboys game, which was truly probably the most entertaining football game I've ever covered in my life in person. Low bar, obviously, but it was a lot of fun. That Dallas defense I saw 3 weeks ago at this point was one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my entire life. That was the case for 4 full weeks, not just the game I saw, because the Cowboys arrived at MetLife Stadium last in yards per game at 420 and second to last in points per game in 30. And through 3 quarters, the Jets had 210 yards and 6 points. Biggest issue I see with what happened against the Dallas Cowboy defense, the Jets were able to run the ball rampantly, but this pass protection, it is imploding, and it is bad. 32 pressures the Jets allowed. 32, according to Pro Football Focus. That included 5 sacks, 10 hits, and 16 hurries. If you want to go to NFL GSIS, they had 14 quarterback hits and 5 sacks. Olu Fashanu and Membu Fashanu, a coach told me actually that was scouting this game, said it looks like that guy has regressed both in technique and confidence. And Membu, the rookie, both allowed 5 pressures. Joe Tippmann allowed 6. The line is an issue. Zach, I'm curious if you agree with this. I don't think the line is the whole issue. And here's the reasoning. Justin Fields right now, no matter where you look, Next Gen, True Media, Pro Football Focus, they're all slightly different on the specific number, but he is last on every single one of those websites in time to throw. What that means is from when he gets the ball in his hands to when he throws the ball, he is taking the longest amount of time from snap to ball. You can look at that 2 ways. Glass half full is, wow, he's got great protection and it's holding up. Glass half empty is that he is not processing, he is not reading, which, by the way, were the 2 biggest bugaboos around Justin Fields' career to this point. The reason why it's the glass half empty approach is because if you're holding the ball because you have a lot of time, you're not getting pressured at the rate that Justin Fields is getting pressured at. This season, 81 pressures the Jets' offensive line have allowed. If you look at the other quarterbacks, Zach, and we've seen this, the other guys who are have a very high time to throw as well, it's Lamar Jackson, it's Jalen Hurts, it's Caleb Williams, right? Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams have allowed 50 pressures. The Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson have allowed 56 pressures. The Philadelphia Eagles with Hurts have allowed 59 pressures. That pressure rate for the Jets of 81 is the second most in the NFL. So their quarterback is holding the ball forever, and because he's holding the ball forever, the pressure's getting home, and then he's taking hits, and he's getting just pummeled. 30 quarterback hits he's taken this year, and that doesn't include his 31 rushers to go along with his 10 sack, or he's the 10th most sacked quarterback in the league. Remember, he also didn't play a full game there and a game and a quarter. They got to figure this out, dude. They got to find a way to speed this up with Fields, and I don't know if it's actually possible.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this as an issue in camp early, and
yeah, we were told we were wrong, though.
I know. It was one of those things, fans always get mad early in camp when you point out. Like, I remember a couple years ago, we were pointing out how the offensive line was giving up a sack every play, and they were like, no, they weren't. Stop lying. And I think it's a combo of both things. I think the O-line has definitely struggled in the pass protection, and I also think that Justin Fields is holding on to the ball too long. So it's a bad combination. When you have Olu struggling, you have Armin Membu getting 4 penalties in one game. Like, that was his first real bad game of the season. He's actually been their most consistent guy. Joe Tippmann, Josh Myers have been inconsistent. John Simpson's getting a lot of ill-timed penalties. Like, it's across the board. There's none of these guys this last week where you could say, like, he held it all together, because they all didn't. But yeah, Justin Fields holding on to the ball too long is contributing to a lot of this. But at the same time, like, one of his superpowers, to quote the previous staff, is his ability to get away from pressure and make plays with his feet. Like, he can do some amazing things. And so sometimes the time to throw is going to be changed a little bit, because if he's running around for 5 seconds, that's going to impact, like, his time to throw if he winds up throwing it at the end of that. But yeah, ultimately it's a whole operational issue, and another part of that issue with him holding on to the ball, by the way. And that's why it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, there's no other receivers that he can rely on besides Garrett Wilson also. So, our guy's getting open. Is he getting enough blocking up front? Is he holding on to the ball too long? Like, each play might be a different answer, which is a problem also.
And teams are also now dialing up the blitz on the Jets. That's something that we knew was going to happen and knew was going to come. I mean, specifically once you saw it with Todd Bowles, because I brought it up to Aaron Glenn. Again, I've made this point on this show multiple times. Basically, did Todd Bowles, as creative as he is, show a wart within the Jets' protection that now teams were going to just pile on and pile on and pile on and pile on, and we've seen that. The Steelers blitzed 40% of the time in week 1, but then the Bucs were 47.8. The Dolphins were only 22.9, but that was because they called off the Dogs in the fourth quarter with the game pretty much decided, and then Dallas blitzed on 42.4% of the dropbacks. Ridiculous. Now, I don't know how you fix it, because AVT obviously isn't coming back. Fields, I don't know how, like, you're at the point now, this is who he is. This is just, he's going to hold the ball forever. He's going to take hits. Eventually he's going to get hurt, and then Taylor comes in, but Taylor holds the ball just as long as Fields does. So it's a really bad combination. I will say, from a fantasy perspective, dude, like, Justin Fields has got to be one of the best quarterbacks in the world to have. I got to bring it up just because I have to find it. Do you have in front of you, Zach, what Fields' numbers are for this entire season so far?
I don't have it right in front of me. I can pull it up real fast, though.
Yeah, can you pull it up for me? And then,
Yeah,
then I'm going to go into it because it's just a wild, like, sub-stat with it.
So his stats are he has 67% completion, 754 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
As a passer. We're just looking at quarterback. I know he's rushed for like another 3 touchdowns.
200 yards, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the wild thing, right? So those are ridiculously good quarterback numbers, right? Like you look, if you would have read those stats
on paper.
Yeah, on paper, and told me those are Justin Fields' numbers through 4 of 5 games because he missed basically a whole. Well, he did miss a whole one against the Buccaneers. I'd be like, holy crap, dude! Like, this is Sam Darnold 2.0. This is Baker Mayfield 2.0. The Jets gamble paid off. Jets gamble did not pay off. 32% of his passing yards have come in the fourth quarter. 75% of his passing touchdowns, 3 of the 4, have come in the fourth quarter, basically in garbage time. This guy is the ultimate prevent defense garbage time merchant that I have ever seen in my life. It's freaking wild, dude. And again, when the fourth quarter has begun for the Jets, they were leading by 10 in Pittsburgh, that game that probably got away from them. Then down by 17 week 2, down by 14 week 3, down by 24 week 5. The games that excluding the Tampa Bay game because Fields didn't play. So in Fields' starts, leading by 10, down 17, down 14, down 24. And that's when suddenly the defense goes to prevent. We just don't want the big plays. And that's when Fields is checking down, making throws, and these numbers are compiling. 32% of his yards have come in the fourth quarter, basically in garbage time. Real quick, this last number, Joe Caporoso, shout out him of Badlands. He does an incredible job. He tweeted this out. I can't take credit for it, but I bookmarked it because I thought it was fascinating. We've talked a lot, Zach, about the Jets' offense and starting fast and needing points. And Tanner Engstrand told us 2 weeks ago that it was, we're getting field goals on our opening drives, just not touchdowns. Yeah, no crap you're not getting touchdowns because, again, shout out Joe for finding this number. The first offensive touchdown for the Jets this year, okay, in their after week 1 when they had the really good game against the Steelers. It came when they were losing 30-6 to the Cowboys, when they were losing 17-3 to the Dolphins, when they were losing 23-6 to the Bucks, and when they were losing 30-3 to the Bills. So the Jets offense, I know some of these scoreboards look better than what they actually are. They're not even scoring until the game's over. Like it's true, just garbage time stat padding, which again, great for fantasy, but you need to look past the numbers because when the points are coming, when the yards are coming, when the success is coming, it's when the defense is basically dropping everyone back and saying, yeah, we'll give you 6 to 7 yards a pop, no problem, because you're just eating up more clock for us.
I had a stat I was going to tweet out last night, but I decided it was better not to poke the Jets fans bear. But they are the second highest scoring 0-5 team in NFL history. So, you can celebrate that, I guess. But it's to your point. It's because of all the garbage time yards, and you feel it in the moment. Like when you have to, you don't have to do this as much anymore. But like when you have to write something at the gun, like when the game's over. If a game's a blowout, you kind of slowly stop paying attention to every single play that's happening.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden you'll look up, you're like, oh, they scored a touchdown. Okay, it still doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Right. You look up, okay, well, now it looks like they scored a bunch. Oh, look at Justin Fields' stats. He has almost 300 yards.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those games where it's like, okay, so I have to write these stats down, but I can't write it in the context of it being a great game. But yeah, to your point, like if you look at Justin Fields' stats, if you project them over a full season right now, are 3,204 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 867 rushing yards with 12 touchdowns. If I told you those were going to be his stats before the season, especially the 0 picks, you'd have been like, oh, so the Jets are like contending for the playoffs. But like he's getting garbage time stats, kind of like Rodgers did in a lot of ways last year against bad teams and, late in games and stuff like that. But, you need Fields to do it in the first quarter. You need him to throw the ball in the first quarter and complete passes in the first quarter. Like 67% sounds good. 67% sounds good, but it would sound a lot better if you were throwing 10 passes in the first quarter and you completed 7 of them also.
That's the big one and you hit it. He needs to complete them. And the problem, and I sent this out, this tweet, and it was basically that like the Jets were, for the second game in a row, again, felt this against the Dolphins, felt it again here against the Cowboys. I did not think they were running the ball nearly enough. And every time it would be like Breece Hall would rip off a 15-yard run, He would have a 5-yard run. They'd look at 2nd and 5, and then they'd throw, incomplete, sack, incomplete, and then the punt team would come on. And Jake Assman tweeted me this. I had a bunch of other fans tweet me that, and they were like, the guys are open. Justin Fields just isn't hitting him. Garrett Wilson was open for a deep touchdown. Justin Fields is just missing him. So it's the right call to throw the ball. He's just missing the throws. Guys, we watched all of training camp. That's what Fields does. He misses throws. That's what he does. So it doesn't matter that Garrett Wilson is wide open on a deep end like he was against the Bills. Justin Fields misses him. It doesn't matter that Garrett Wilson is open on a go route against the Cowboys because Justin Fields misses him. That's what he does. So when you call plays, you need to call plays with that understanding. So yeah, on 2nd and 5, maybe you can go the play action, go route, and Garrett Wilson gets behind the defense. There's probably a 30% chance that it's hit. When if you turn around and hand the ball off again, you know Hall's going to get 4 yards, and now you're looking at 3rd and 1. The running numbers, Breece Hall was 14 carries, 113 yards. He averaged 8.1 a pop. Fields was 7 of 26, and Isaiah Davis on his only carry was 1 for 5. So they can run the ball wildly effectively. Every single week, they stop themselves when they choose to throw it. And it's almost like just stop over, just run it 12 straight times like we saw it at points in training camp. Just keep handing the ball off. I mean, there was a time a week ago where on 3rd and 5, the Jets handed the ball off and they got a first down. Like you can still do that, especially when you have a quarterback that you feel confident in getting quarterback sneaks. I don't know if you feel similarly to me. They're not running it enough, even though they're running it a ton.
Yeah, it's funny. I tweeted something during the game because I was thinking the same thing as you because Breece was running the ball like crazy. He had a really impressive 22-yard run at one point where like 3 guys were trying to tackle him simultaneously from low, from the middle, and from high, and he broke all of them and broke out a 22-yard run. And so I was like, just keep handing the Breece Hall the ball every single play until it stops working. And so 5 plays later, he fumbles the ball away. So I did the jinx. But yeah, I go back and forth because I do agree. But when also if you fall behind 10-0 or more, it becomes harder to run the ball every play and really make up ground. And they kind of were running it a lot, and they were running it effectively as they fell behind, but it just doesn't have the same effect as when you throw the ball. So I don't know. I hear you because Fields, he's going to miss these plays, but they also aren't even trying them a lot of the time. So I don't know. It's a tough thing, but this was the offense you chose to run when you made him your quarterback and when you said we're going to run the ball every play. And I don't know the exact solution, but
That's kind of goes back, but him making him quarterback with no quarterback competition. And I remember I had a general manager text me as soon as they signed Fields, and he just said Tyrod Taylor's still their best quarterback, and I was like, probably. And it's just I think as a passer he probably is. You just worry about the injuries and all that other stuff. We say this all the time, Zach. Best place to watch us is YouTube. The positive of watching us on YouTube is we have a live comment section that is running throughout the duration of the show. Sam just sent me a couple more of the questions. This one's from Mackle1. I'll let you take this one, Zach. Isaiah Davis played 40% of the snaps but ran the ball only 1 time. What does that say to a defense when he's in? Pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it says. Like, it's if you do the same thing over and over again, the other team's going to know what you're showing. And it's just like, usually when Andrew Beck is in the game, they're probably going to run it, although he did have a receiving touchdown.
Did you bet that? Did you bet it?
I did not, no.
I thought that was a weekly bet for you. It was like plus 3,000, by the way. Anytime touchdown for Beck was like plus $3,000.
That's fine.
Not $3,000, $3K.
I did think Isaiah was going to get the ball more than he did, I'll say. I was surprised by that. But, when Braylon Allen went down, this is always going to be a Breece Hall heavy running offense. I think they should spell him a little bit more because you don't want him to get hurt because you don't have anybody in that offense right now besides him and Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor to a degree. He's been solid. But yeah, if you're not going to give Isaiah Davis the ball when he goes in there, then everybody's going to know what you're doing. So, you don't want to become predictable, and that's predictable.
Yeah. And then we had a Veek say Dak Prescott has been a garbage time merchant for years. Yeah. Here's the other thing. That is a tough SOB who stands in the pocket and just throws dots and throws seeds and takes hits and gives his guys chances. He was throwing to nobody, and he's out there throwing dots. Like, I get it. He's not a perfect quarterback, but it's just he is a damn good football player. I mean, any Jet fan who criticizes Dak Prescott and wouldn't want Dak Prescott on this team is just, I mean, come on. Again, he's a flawed guy. He's not Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. But that is a damn good top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and I'm going to die on that hill. Like, again, the Cowboys without him don't have a win this season. Like, I am hellbent. He's playing some really, really, really good football right now, and I don't know, man. I've watched enough of him now where I've become a Dak Prescott fan. I'm a big fan of his. All right, move on. I think if you want to. I mean, is there anything else you can think of to say on the offense in your mind?
No,
anything you want to add?
I think we've covered pretty much everything there is to say about them.
32% of his yards in the fourth quarter. Like, that's wild. And then the time to throw being the slowest in the NFL, coupled with the second most pressures in the NFL, is like just nuts. And that is a recipe for disaster. Aaron Glenn, let's talk him. This has been a topic that I have seen floated around it, and I mean, I don't, unless you want to, like, I don't really feel like talking about what can Aaron Glenn do to turn this around? What can Aaron Glenn say? Is Aaron Glenn's message getting through? I don't think his message is getting through because nothing's improving and the Jets are regressing in just about every measure possible, and that's usually a giant red flag that the quarterback or the coach is basically screaming into a wall and nobody's listening to him, which is what I wrote in my column last week. But the big talking point with him, because again, we're just going to say the same things. Oh, he's going to say this, say that, the message, blah, blah, blah. Well, when nothing's changing, your message isn't getting through. There's a big talking point on Jets Twitter I've seen about this potentially being one and done, and the Jets firing Aaron Glenn after 1 year. I think there is a 0% chance of that happening. They are paying this guy a ton of money. Like he's getting almost double what Robert Saleh got. I think it's like close to $12 million a year Aaron Glenn is getting to coach the Jets. Coaching contracts are guaranteed. So if you were to fire Aaron Glenn after 1 year, he still has 4 more years to pay it. That means Woody's cutting a check for that much money for the next 4 years for a coach to not coach his team. So you're going to be paying Aaron Glenn after firing him for 1 year. You're then going to have to pay a second coach in there. What if that coach struggles after 2 years and you fire him? You're not going to be paying 3 coaches? Like, Zach, I would be beyond floored if they fired him after 1 year. I would say, I literally think there's a 0% chance of that happening. Even if they went 0-17, which isn't going to happen, I still think they would bring him back. I cannot see Woody Johnson.
I would say, I think it's, I don't think you can say there's a 0% chance of anything with this team. So I would caution not saying 0, maybe
saying 0,
1%. But
based off what we know,
I think you're wrong saying 0%. That's all I'm saying. So, I don't think they're going to fire him. I'm not saying I do. I think it's probably 1%, but 5%, whatever. But they're not firing him after this year.
I'm going to clip that. Boy Green's going to get you, dude. That's gonna be Zach. Zach says there's a chance Aaron Glenn's fired. That's not what
I said. I said
you said there's a 5% chance. That's a chance.
I wouldn't have guessed Robert Saleh got fired after that Vikings game last year either.
Not when we did a conference call with him the next day.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
that's what I told my boss. I was like, "Don't worry, stand down. We're good." I called my boss Matt. I called him and I was real quick, Zach. I called my boss Matt the day the Friday that Saleh was fired, or the Friday before Saleh was fired. I called my boss and I was like, "Hey, I heard there was a meeting where Joe and Robert got reamed. Like, they were just ripped apart. If they go to London and they lose, I don't think Joe goes, but I think there's a chance Robert fired. Like, we got to be ready to go. Like, we got to be ready to go for this one." And he goes, "Got it, appreciate it, let's keep an eye on it." They go, they play the Vikings. The game's close. Like, a Rodgers interception is the only reason they didn't lose that game. Like, they were in it against an undefeated Vikings team. Like, they were 100% in that game. They come home, dude. We did a conference call the next day with Robert. Like, we did the day after Zoom on Monday with Robert. I call my boss. I'm like, "Yeah, no chance he's getting fired, dude. He just did a conference call with us. We did a conference call." Sure enough, Tuesday comes and Robert Saleh's fired. That's fun.
I mean, mine was better than yours. I was in London on Sunday. They're losing. I text my wife. Yeah, Robert Saleh is definitely getting, like, jokingly, yeah, he's definitely getting fired while we're in Paris. Cut to Tuesday. I'm walking around the Nike store. We separated. She was in some other store. She comes when she comes to find me. She sees a look on my face. She's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Robert Saleh just got fired." Yep. And I proceeded to be on my phone the rest of the day. She got a photo of me with the Eiffel Tower in the background, and I had to cover this on a day in Paris we were supposed to be spending, where I was supposed to be on vacation. Had to write a story. Yeah, it was a disaster. This trip I made the mistake, I guess, of booking another trip. We're going to Brussels for a couple days after the game. So if the Jets fire Steve Wilkes on Tuesday, you can blame me for that, Connor. I don't think they will. I'm not reporting they think they will. I'm just saying if something crazy like that happens. I should say we did have a comment that Sam put in the chat that we should. It kind of ties to this topic. If you want to read it there, Connor, in the group chat from Paul Vertucci.
Oh, yeah, you can read it. Go ahead. I saw that from Sam. The one about Vrabel.
Yeah, he said the Jets are 0-5.
Real quick, YouTube place to be because of the comment section where you can send questions like this.
Good job. Good setup. The Jets are 0-5. The Patriots under Mike Vrabel are 3-2. They just beat the Bills. So the Patriots have appreciably more talent than the Jets. What is Vrabel doing that Glenn isn't? And I think it's going to be hard not to tie these two together because they got hired at the same time because the backgrounds are somewhat similar. The difference between the two is that Vrabel has done this before. He knows what he does. Like the things that Aaron Glenn doesn't know yet, Mike Vrabel already knows. I think Mike Vrabel, if you look back at his days in Tennessee, and I obviously have a lot of knowledge about him because I did this long story where I spent a lot of time with him and all that stuff, but he's very detailed. Every Friday they have a teach tape thing where they look around the league and all the things other teams have messed up. They teach each other. They teach the players about that. They study the officiating crews. They're very detailed. And Vrabel also has a quarterback in Drake May. At the end of the day, like the best coaches are the ones with the best quarterbacks. And Drake May looks like an absolute stud. And so you have a coach who has his players playing hard. You see them getting better each week, whereas the Jets are kind of going in the opposite direction. And I don't know that you can say the Patriots have significantly more talent than the Jets. They maybe have more. They have more veterans. They have more leaders in that locker room, I think.
I don't think they have a quarterback. They don't have more talent than the Jets. I don't think so. Not immensely more.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, they did bring in a lot of veterans though in that locker room, like the kind of guy like they brought in Morgan Moses, they brought in Stephon Diggs, they brought in all these guys, and I just think they put together a roster and a coaching staff that has them ready to play, even if they're going to be outmanned some weeks. And now going forward, they have a pretty easy schedule too. So I think you're going to see the Patriots winning some games while you see the Jets losing some. And it's going to be hard not to, just compare Vrabel and Glenn side by side because, there was a brief moment where Vrabel was the first interview the Jets did. They were the first interview that he did. And if the Patriots job doesn't open, I think there's a legitimate possibility he considers this gig. So, it's an alternate universe to think about, and it's going to be hard for Jets fans, a lot of whom who were really, really wanted Vrabel and then acted like they didn't when he got hired by the Patriots.
That's a lie.
But this is why he was always one of the best coaches, and that's why, especially in that Patriots-Jets game, I'm very curious to see how the Jets show up against that team because you need to show up against the Patriots as much as any team on your schedule when you're the Jets because many years they haven't. And these are two teams that are in similar situations in terms of rebuild, in terms of blowing up the roster, blowing up the coaching staff, changing the culture. And it's going to be a real measuring stick for both sides. So, that's not for a few weeks, but that's something I have on my mind going forward.
You said if I genuinely believe, based off of what I know, certainly you have many more ties to Vrabel than I do. But knowing what I know from the Jets and all that stuff, that if Mayo isn't fired by the Patriots, Mike Vrabel's on the Jets sideline. He was their 1-1. Like the Jets wanted Mike Vrabel more than anyone else. So much so that before he took the job with the Patriots, the Jets called him and were like, anything we can. They were giving him full control, dude. Like he was gonna get everything with the Jets, full control, the money, anything. And they said, "Is there anything we can do to get you to take this job over the Patriots?" And Vrabel wanted New England. It's where he played. It's where he became a legend. It's he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame. There's so much that he has over there. There was nothing the Jets were going to do that would keep him from New England. But if that New England vacancy wasn't open, Vrabel's probably the Jets head coach. And look, Aaron Glenn's trying to be the coach that Vrabel is. That's ultimately what this is. Vrabel is one of the 2 or 3 best coaches in the entire NFL. He is. He's unbelievable. He's the ultimate CEO. Just a tremendous. If you want somebody like McVay because he's offense, Shanahan because he's offense, whatever. But Vrabel's unbelievable, and there is that alternate reality where he's at MetLife.
Real quick, I just got a text from my wife. I guess she's watching, so shout out to Samantha. But she sent me a text.
She probably agrees that she's third wheeling us, right? At this beef.
I don't know if she saw that part or not, but she's about to find out, I guess. Yeah, she definitely would agree to that. But she sent me the text that I sent her during the Vikings game, and I said the Jets are playing bad enough that I'm mildly worried they fire Saleh while we're in Paris. I don't think it'll actually happen, but it's in the back of my head.
Good gut feeling though. Your gut's better than my gut. Just wait till you guys have your first.
I don't
hit,
have a
man.
dad bod
That's
yet.
when the
Yeah.
gut goes to shit. Yeah, that's when the gut goes to crap. It's a little bit harder to hit the gym when you got a toddler you're chasing around. And also the worst part about having a toddler is when you get the dad tax of like everything they have you get a bite of, and I am so bad with that. Let's do the power of positivity. Shout out Brandon Marshall for giving Brian Costello that book because he thought Cos was too negative. Power of positivity. Give me one reason a Jets fan should wake up Sunday before 9:30 to watch the Jets take on the Broncos. By the way, side note, I love 9 o'clock football games.
Oh, me too.
I think it's awesome
beautiful.
to have a 9 to 1, 1 to 4, 4 to 8 night game. I think it's freaking awesome. Like, I love having the 9 o'clock games. I'm totally a fan. I don't love them all being in London, but I love a 9 o'clock game.
The London games have been good. Usually they're like ugly, but they've been pretty good games.
They have been.
I would say my thing would be the possibility that Jermaine Johnson finally comes back. I do not think he's going to solve all their problems, but I think the idea that he would come back, I think he would make a huge impact. They wouldn't look as bad as they do. You would have a situation where you don't need Michael Clemens to play as much, or Brady McGregor, or Tyler Barron. And so I'm very curious to see, number one, what he would look like. He seems to indicate via his Twitter that it's not his decision that he's not playing yet. These guys probably shouldn't tweet as much as they do, but I think he can make I mean, you and I talked about it all offseason and leading into the season. Like, he was probably in their top 5, top 3 most important players, and we've seen it. So if he comes back and it's Jermaine Johnson, like, that helps a lot. So that'd be something to look forward to.
He's also one of those dudes who I think is a leader. Like, we were talking about leaders, alphas, type A's. Like, Jermaine is that guy. He is a dude, like, he is so supremely confident. He genuinely believes every time he steps on the field, he is the best player on the field. And I think the Jets need a little bit. Like, they need that moxie. They like, Jermaine's never hanging his head and never going to hang his head when he's on the field, whether they're winning, losing, draw, in between. So I think the Jets need his attitude as much as his ability as a player. Like they sorely miss him. That's a good one, Zach. Mine is Garrett Wilson. That one-handed grab is like the best 2-yard catch I've ever seen in my life. I mean, literally, that saved a pick 6 of Diggs. Diggs was going the other way. I mean, I thought it was so funny when he tapped Garrett Wilson on the helmet like 3 times, like, basically like, buddy, you just stole one from me. Like, he was going. Like, Garrett Wilson is so damn good. Like, he really is. Like, even there was a play he made that converted a first down where he caught it like 5 yards short, but he was one-on-one with a guy in the open field, and I was like, oh, that's a first down. Like, he's going to make the dude miss. And
even his touchdown, the way he stretched out was like pure effort too.
He's so goddamn good. Like, it's just, you feel a bummer because, again, he's playing with a poor quarterback. Again, he's dealing with outside factors that are limiting him his ability that are completely out of his control. The thing with Garrett, and he says all the right things now, but he is an emotionally passionate player. I just hope that this incessant losing, doesn't just drag him to the point where he loses his spirit, or that he just says, like, I can't do this anymore, I want out. Because he is so good. And it's just, I thought we were going to see it with Aaron. They ended up butting heads and hating each other. But it's just, God, just someone help Garrett Wilson. Don't free him, because I don't want to lose him, because he's also a great quote. But, man, someone's just got to help him, because he's so spectacular. All right, preview time. Bloody hell, it says here. Let's do, I'm probably going to retire with impressions. They got me to do my Jennifer Coolidge one on Jets mailbag, which I will not be doing here on this show. Shout out my father-in-law for submitting that question to the mailbag, which you guys should watch at the end of every week with Janae Coakley and myself, Jets mailbag, on SMY's digital channels, including YouTube, where you should subscribe and get all of our platforms. Zach, Jets are staying the entire week in London, which I think is very interesting. They're facing the Broncos on Sunday. Broncos 3-2, huge win off of the Philadelphia Eagles, a tremendous comeback. Bo Nix hasn't been as good as you see him there as I expected him to be. He's kind of dealing with a little bit of a sophomore slump. I thought he was going to be a borderline Pro Bowl player, but he's still talented, and Sean Payton's a tremendous offensive mind. But I don't think Bo Nix has been exactly what I thought, but that defense for the Broncos is. They can rush the passer, they play coverage, they can run the ball, they have Sutton at receiver. Like, they've got some weapons there. I think it's going to be a very tough one, which is probably why the Jets are 7.5-point underdogs. Pick time. I currently am 2-3, thanks to you. Brooke is also 2-3. Zach, you are 4-1 picking against the spread. That is wildly impressive. It's one thing to do with money line, but 4-1 Jets or Broncos, 7.5. The spread. Broncos currently favored 7.5. What's your go?
7.5 is a big number. And there's always a possibility of a letdown after the Broncos had an emotional win. So I'm like tempted to go Jets +7, but I'm going to go Broncos -7.5. Their defense is the best one they're going to face this year probably, and their offense has weapons, and we haven't seen the defense's ability to stop those. So I'm going to go Broncos -7.5.
Sorry, I'm tweeting. My bad. You stopped talking too quick.
Well, I didn't have that much to say.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We've said enough. I think it's one of our better shows, actually. We'll see if executive producer Jeff
A
Goldman,
mid-show self-evaluation. That's impressive.
I think it is. I do agree. No video from Brooke's pick today because she has suddenly decided she's camera shy. So my wife and I now, when we do these picks, Bree and I, we have to like hide the camera as we film her. She won't even let you take selfies with her or pictures of her. Like her hand goes up and says no. This was her though next to me. I had to hide the camera for this and snap it before she noticed. This is her doing her game prep. So she has now picked back-to-back successful games. She is very much in on this one, and she has picked the Denver Broncos this week -7.5. Or as she said, orange. Now, I tried to get the video on 3 separate occasions. As soon as she saw the camera, she ran and dove on the ground and hit her face. So Brooke crunched the numbers. She now says, Dad at work, and she has to sit next to me while I'm writing and working and like color on her little notepad as she was doing there. Little reporter in training. So she has the Broncos -7.5. I'm actually on the other side. I'm picking Jets +7.5. This will not change. I don't think the Jets win. That's just a big spread, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think overseas games are weird. The Jets do have some experience playing in London. So do the Broncos. But I just think it's probably going to be like a 4-point game or a 5-point game. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see that spread change a bit. 7.5 just seems super, super high. Comment I do have on my phone, Sam just told me. All right, so we got a good one here. You ready? This is, again, YouTube, place to watch, and then we're going to wrap up the show here, Zach. YouTube, place to watch. Why? Because you guys can interact with the show through the comment section throughout. Although we love you on X, we love you on SNY TV, Facebook, wherever you're watching. YouTube is the place to be because of that live comment section. This one is from Kev Chada. You guys are nuts. DVR game, rewatch fast-forwarding commercials to save time. Yeah, I wish we could do that in person.
Seriously. Yeah, I wish I could fast forward in person. That would be great.
Yeah. Then Robert I'm so bad at names. Papalia. Oh no, that was Papuga. I was thinking about my Italian teacher's name. God, she hated me. I took Italian freshman year. Miss Papuga did not like me at all. I got in so much trouble in that class, which is not my fault. Like I should have taken Spanish. I took Italian because in middle school they told us we were going to eat chicken parm and Italian food every day, and I was like, I want to take Italian. Got there, did not do that, and instead I got detention every day for talking all the time. But Robert, not Papuga, Papalia said that Garrett is the Larry Fitzgerald of the Jets. I disagree because Larry ended up having
the Cardinals won.
Kurt Warner, early in his career, and maybe a little bit late when you had like the Matt
John
Leinart
Skelton.
years, Josh Rosen, but. Dude, he was really good with Carson Palmer. He was really good with Kurt Warner. Like there was some legit success. I mean, the Cardinals went to a Super Bowl.
They made the Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, and they should have won actually the Super Bowl. Like 100% they should have won that game. The crazy pick 6 by James Harrison. Good show, Zach. Right? You think? I think.
Solid, yeah.
I agree. Good back and forth. I don't think I talked too long. I don't think you talked too long. I know we'll find out after the show. When the former
Jeff will have some harsh critique for you, I'm sure, because you were mean to him about Penn State. So
yeah, our executive producer Jeff Goldman is a huge Penn State fan, and everyone who knows me knows I hate Penn State, and I love shit talking. I love it. So like, my friends know it because I do it on all Philadelphia sports teams, and obviously Penn State as well. And Jeff, I've been poking the bear, and I think I got to lay low for a little bit. I'm glad I don't have to go into SNY for a while because I think Jeff might be waiting with a Sanchez shiv for me. So I'm going to keep an eye off that one. All right. Jets final drive. That's what this has been. You guys know this by now. We come your way after every single Jets game, the day after every single Jets game. Little to be determined on this next one, probably coming your way on Tuesday after the Jets-Broncos game, Zach, just because things are crazy flying home from another country. Like I'm leaving Friday night, getting there Saturday morning. I don't even remember when my flight is Monday. It's a disaster zone of traveling to London and then trying to come back in a day. So I don't know when we're going to be coming. It's mostly the day after every Jets game, probably Tuesday this coming week for Jets Final Drive. If you want more of me, though, and more Jets content, we have another Jets digital show, and it is called Jets Mailbag. Been doing very well. It is on SNY.TV and YouTube. It's me, it's Janae Coakley. We take your Jets questions throughout the week and then answer them all in that forum. We know there's a lot on your guys' mind. There should be a lot on your guys' mind. You love this team, and this team does not love you back because they are the worst team in the NFL right now, record-wise. You can send questions that you have on the Jets to me at Connor_J_Hughes, also at SNY.TV, also at SNYJets, also at Janae Coakley. All of us will take those questions, compile them, and then answer them later this week. I believe that show goes live or goes up on YouTube on either Thursday or Friday, so you can catch that then. That is Jets Mailbag. If you want more of Zach, you can find him on Jets Flight Plan, part of the Badlands show with my old producer, actually, as well, Tim McMaster. You guys do a great job over there, and obviously on The Athletic, where you can find all your writing. Zach, you were in the zone this past week. I did read your your column. I thought the lead was good. The one you gave me shit for, where it was like you weren't on the you told me about you being in your zone for the first time. I was like, yeah, the lead was serviceable. It wasn't great. I thought this lead that you wrote after it was really good. This one was really good.
I know I'm not as descriptive about, how much love these guys are showing for each other as you, but I try my best, okay?
Yeah, I'm laying low on that one, man. My scene-setting leads are...
I had to bring it up at some point. I had to.
Oh, well, the funny thing is I texted one of the guys in the Jets media relations because Aaron Glenn made his comment about, loving Garrett Wilson and one of these guys that he just wants to be around. And I tweeted the quote and sent it to him, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Great quote. You won't be hearing this one from me. I got to lay low on the bromance descriptions. All right, that's gonna do it here for Jets Final Drive. He is Zack Rosenblatt. I am Connor Hughes. This show is not possible without our amazing production staff of Brian Pincus, Sam Candell, Corey Palmer, and executive producer Jeff Goldman. We will see you guys next week after the Jets take on the Broncos. Hopefully they win. Probably will lose because Denver's pretty good. And the Jets, as we said, with what we learned from Monmouth University, is the Jets stink. We'll see you guys next week.